Here in rural Cornwall, many primary schools face particular challenges relating to their size and location. In the second of two programmes, we visit the head teachers of three small, geographically isolated schools.
Are you the Australian captain?
In this programme, each head highlights a different challenge that they face in managing their school.
Come on then, Jack, please.
Jerry Sweet must overcome his school's geographical isolation in order to broaden his pupils' horizons.
So you've got 24 children.
Amanda Raynham's dual role as both class teacher and head demands strict time management.
It costs £3 to feed one fox in your zoo for one
Debbie
day.
Tregellis must look beyond her teachers in order to deliver the curriculum through a small staff body. Despite Trenode Primary being a small village school, Lucy and her mum are the only people who walk there each morning.
We're very lucky we have a pathway up to our school, but a lot of people don't have that privilege.
There are no footpaths whatsoever near to the school at all, except for one which leads down the side of a field. The majority of children come from villages and farms which are spread over a huge area. Consequently, with no public transport, the only way to get to school safely is in fact by car.
This isn't just a logistical problem. It impacts upon pupils' social and educational opportunities.
Children view school very much as the meeting place, and to them it is very much the centre of what they do, because that's the only time that they can safely meet their friends. Jack, have you done a wave to the coach, please? You know how to socially, unless their parents actually take them somewhere, then these children don't get the ease of going to swimming baths or libraries or anything of this nature.
For head teacher Jerry Sweet, taking pupils on trips is a challenging responsibility for the school.
We can buy in services, people can come into the school, but that isn't as good as the children actually going on a trip themselves. The children actually going outside their area to travel to somewhere different is an important part of the education experience. Well, at the moment we've got 84 children travelling to Lux Park swimming pool, and we like to have a whole school swimming session, which is what we're going for today. But logistically, very difficult. We have the pool for an hour, but we can't get all of the children in at the same time. So consequently, we have to split the children into two groups.
Jim knelt in the sand beside him. The boy and the dolphin looked into each other's eyes.
On arriving, the second group must sit patiently with a story. Meanwhile, the first group kick off the session in the pool. Then it's all change. Group 1 dries off with the story as Group 2 dives in. When the second group emerges, everyone heads back to the bus. It's an organisational challenge for Jerry.
We have considered perhaps splitting it and taking two separate groups on occasions, but we get the economies of scale by taking the whole school at the same time. By splitting it, we'd have to have more coaches and therefore pay for more coaches.
To overcome problems of geographical isolation, Jerry has joined forces with other local schools in a cluster.
We've got three other schools which are quite close to us, which are small schools, and one large school at Loo. And the teaching staff are getting together as groups, talking to other teachers who teach the same age children, and therefore they can share their expertise and experiences.
Today, fellow head teacher Tony Wardle has dropped in to discuss an event which will bring the schools together.
The great idea that's come from Year 5 and 6 is to have a joint cluster arts festival on Seaton Beach of all places. That's really exciting.
Down at Seaton Arts Day, it sounds wonderful.
One of the things we've done through extended services is actually take advantage of training teachers and staff to be licensed to drive the county minibuses. We've managed to get 5 trained so far.
It's the communication, it's the travelling, it's the transport between the schools that is the big issue.
And this is what's been so beneficial about getting together with our partner schools.
If you're talking to somebody who's doing the same job as yourself, you've got a sounding board to try ideas because they understand what you're trying to say. But also when they say that they've had certain difficulties and you can say, well, that happens with me as well, it doesn't have to make you feel better. Your confidence increases and therefore your competence as well.
Like many small schools, Menheniot Primary near Liskeard has a teaching head.
How many flowers were in each vase? What sort of sum would she do?
Amanda Raynham has a dual responsibility, both as teacher to her class and as administrative head to the school.
Do you have any phone calls?
Yeah, just a couple.
This makes for a busy start to each day.
I try and arrive very early, so I have plenty of time to think about the day ahead. The first thing that I think about is whether there's going to be any members of staff that are off sick, in which case I would immediately get on the telephone and try and find a supply teacher. Hello, could you put me through to Steve Murphy, please? After that, I would look at the day ahead, check that I've got my lessons planned. I'd be thinking about my assembly. I'm usually quite busy in the hour before school starts.
Morning assembly requires Amanda to combine her roles, leading the whole school in exploring current issues.
We're going to think this morning about turning over a new leaf, giving things up.
As well as being the moral figurehead in a school this size, Amanda must assume more practical roles.
Playtime next, and I'm on duty this morning. You're welcome to come out. The head of a larger school has more staff who they can delegate roles to. If I was in a larger school, I would have a deputy head, and I might also have the head of key stages. And so as a head, you're having to do all of those roles.
With the end of break, it's time to don another hat.
The challenge of having a role that is both head teacher and also class teacher is ensuring that the schools run efficiently and smoothly, but without compromising the teaching and learning.
Today, Amanda's exploring division and multiplication with her class.
How many pairs were there altogether? So you've got 24 children working in pairs.
Was that 12?
12? How did you work it out, Scott? It can be very hard to separate the roles of head teacher and class teacher, but when I'm in the classroom teaching, I try to give that my full attention. And I think the children expect that. They expect me to be their class teacher. Whilst I'm there for them. Can you put up your hand, please, if you understand how to do that problem? Well done, hands down. From 1 o'clock I work in the office. An important part of my job is actually being able to focus on the office work in the afternoon. And I always try and deal with the paperwork, if it is urgent, on the day that it arrives, because the next day I never quite know what's going to happen.
With teaching assistant Phyllis Howell soon to retire, Amanda is having to think about how to cover her responsibilities.
We've got to look at the prospect of somebody else taking on the whole of the French. But I didn't want to leave you in the lurch at the last minute.
No. What was your experience of teaching French before you started doing it? Because I know a lot of people are going to say that they can't speak French.
None whatsoever. I just drew on my knowledge from many, many moons ago at grammar school.
We'll have a chat about it at a staff meeting and see what everybody's thoughts are.
After this, Amanda has a short meeting with the school secretary to keep abreast of the day's messages.
We had the lady here rang up last week about work experience
here.
And I said we'd discuss it at the staff meeting tomorrow and then get back to her.
She got any previous experience, or didn't she say?
She didn't say. She's doing a childcare course, I think. So.
With her time each day split between roles, Amanda has had to develop strategies for managing both effectively.
It's very, very important to prioritise the jobs and tasks that have to be done that day. As a teaching head, I feel that I have the best of both roles. On one side, I'm a class teacher, and I get a lot of satisfaction from seeing the children make progress. And as a head teacher, I enjoy the management of the school. One of the most enjoyable parts is knowing all the children, knowing the families, being able to communicate with all the parents on a day-to-day basis. And it's lovely to be part of the community.
Braddock Primary near Liskeard has only 3 teachers, including the head. With 2 teachers currently away on a residential trip, head teacher Debbie Tregellis has been left holding the fort. As a result, the school is turning into a zoo.
We are going to carry on with our zoo challenge. We need to go on to the different challenges for this morning.
When the 2 other teachers are out of school, the planning of the days that they're away falls to me. We invariably take the rest of the children off normal curriculum and have a special time for us left back at the ranch. OK, yellow team. Wash hands, then find Mrs Allen.
With 2 teachers out of school, Debbie has brought in a supply teacher to help cover the staff absences.
The impact of bringing in supply teachers is that it breaks the continuity for the children in their learning. However, in our small school, we usually try and stick to 1 or 2 supply teachers that know us to provide the continuity and progression for the children.
In Carradon area, I teach in a few schools. People like me who come in regularly, they know the staff, they know the routine of the school, and we know the children.
In addition, Debbie has taken on more of the teaching.
The impact on me of having members of staff absent and covering the supply is that it can increase my workload, and stuff in the office just has to sit there and wait for me to get back to it. £3, so it costs £3 to feed one fox in your zoo for one day. But you have to prioritise, and I believe that the children's education and continuity is the most important thing that we do, so paper can wait.
An hour's drive away in a remote corner of Cornish woodland, Debbie's missing teachers and pupils are going back to nature.
We started with what? Started with 2 bits of wood, yeah, and just rubbed them together. We've progressed on through that to using a bow drill, and we're getting quite a bit of smoke now.
Or not, as the case may be.
For the teachers that are taking the children away, it is a 24-hour-a-day responsibility.
We've got 12 children and 2 teachers. We did canoeing yesterday, and then we're doing a bushcraft and survival day today.
It seems like years, but it's actually, we've been here about 3 hours. Can you see the smoke at the bottom?
Oh yeah, we're making a fire.
There you go.
With a small staff body, Debbie depends on her staff being adaptable.
Having a staff that are willing to have a go at most things is brilliant from a management point of view, because whatever I challenge them with, they are up for and willing to give it a go.
We try and give a good go of everything. Like, this happens to be my personal sort of skill. I was taught in the outdoors before I came and taught as a school teacher. But I've also run things like the Wake and Shake competition, which is a dance competition, which is completely opposite to my natural kind of environment. But you realise it's a small school. I'm teaching children who have got very different interests to me. Let's just go for it.
With her teachers out in the woods, back in school, Debbie is relying more than ever on the abilities of her support staff.
Our TAs are a fantastic group of people. They do everything that you can possibly imagine and a whole load more besides. This morning we've had the higher level teaching assistant working on a design technology activity, designing cages to the right dimensions for their animals in the zoo.
Okay. In a bigger school, I'll be all with one particular year group at a time. Being a small school, obviously we've got mixed classes. In this one we've got reception 1 and 2. Next door we've got 3, 4, 5 and 6. So at any given time I could be working with either or all, like we are now.
For small schools like Braddock, the additional support of TAs or activity leaders like Jez is particularly important in enabling teachers to deliver the curriculum to pupils.
We can't really run the activities and supervise the children while they're away. So we make use of Cornwall Outdoors. They run the activities for us. It's quite important that we've got them to enable the kids to have this experience, really.
For Debbie, versatility is key to staffing her small school. Because of this, she has had few problems recruiting new teaching staff.
On the face of it, a small school perhaps has a limited career path to offer teachers new to the profession. However, in some ways, small schools actually give them almost a baptism of fire, because they're offered responsibility from a subject through to running the school on a day when I'm not there very early on in their career, which perhaps is an opportunity they wouldn't get if they were in a bigger school.
Oh no.